What's up YouTube, Minimoto Matt here, bringing you guys my first ever YouTube video of the channel. As you can see in the title, it's going to be about my 2022 Honda Grom. Before we get started, just want to give a big shout out to Maxim Honda Yamaha here in Allen, Texas. Specifically Buzz and Brooke for helping me get this 2022 Honda Grom. So if you're in the area or looking for a new bike, highly recommend checking out Honda Yamaha in Allen and get connected with Brooke and Buzz. They'll get you all set up, let them know Matt sent you. Also want to give a big shout out to East Coast-ish, Honda Pro Kevin, Will Nate 35. They're all YouTubers and they helped answer any questions I had regarding modifications, fitment. So thank you guys. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So when Honda announced that they were going to be releasing the 2022 Honda Grom, I went ahead and headed to my local Honda Power Sports dealer to put a deposit down back in March of 2021. With all the crazy stuff that's going on right now, it did take about a year before I got the call that mine was in and ready for pickup. So March 2022, Buzz gave me a call, told me my bike was here, and I went and picked it up. Before I even had the bike, just like any other Grom owners, I had a bunch of different parts ordered for it. So I did compile a list of all the modifications that I've done. No specific order, but we'll get to that now. First thing I did was added the Yoshimura fender eliminator. I know that there's a bunch of different fender eliminators out right now, but for me, the reason why I went with the Yoshi was because I wanted to retain my stock turn signals, just for maximum visibility, being that it's such a small bike already. And as you know, people here in Texas, they are nuts. So I wanted to retain the factory OEM turn signals. I know a lot of people go with the TST integrated turn light signals. Next thing I did was got rid of those hideous bug mirrors in the front. They kind of raised the profile of the bike by like a foot. So I took those off and blocked off the holes with the TST mirror plugs. The next mod I did was I added the Yoshimura RS9T full stainless steel exhaust system. The factory one just didn't have enough sound for me, and so I went ahead and upgraded it to the Yoshi. And then I went ahead and did the Öhlins front and rear suspension. So for the rear, I did the Öhlins HO047. And then for the front, I did the FDK 112s. Comes with your new caps, and it also comes with two different spring weights, the 5.5 nanomillimeter and the 6.0 nanomillimeters. I went ahead, and since I'm a lighter rider, I went with the 5.5 nanomillimeters. I did the TST chain adjusters. If you guys have ever tried taking the rear wheel off with the factory chain adjusters, they're just super cheap, and these just kind of come falling out. And so these ones are captive, so even if you take the rear wheel axle out, those chain adjusters stay put, so it makes it a lot easier to get this rear axle back in. It also allows you to lift the bike with spools instead of having to lift the bike up on this rear swing arm right here, which isn't really stable. It kind of slides around. And then it's also super easy to adjust your chain now. It's just an Allen key on both sides. And then I went ahead and upgraded to the Honda Mini Pro Taper bars. I know for a lot of Grom owners, it's kind of a 50-50 split between the Honda Minis or the KLX DRZ 110s. For me, I'm not a stunner at all or anything. I just enjoy riding, going on group rides with friends. So I opted to go with the Honda Minis just because they're a little bit narrower, kind of fit the OEM bars, but they're just a little bit lower profile. And then they do have full access to the key here, so I know that was a big question on if there would be enough clearance here. Doesn't block the speedometer at all, so that's another great thing there. And then I went ahead and upgraded the stainless steel brake lines. So when I changed to the Honda Pro Taper Minis, it raised the bar down a little bit, and so the brake line just had a lot of tension right here up against the clusters. So I went ahead and changed it to the Galfer stainless steel braided lines for the front and the rear. And then I upgraded the front and rear sprocket to a driven 38 tooth rear, 15 tooth front, and I upgraded the chain to a 420 pitch gold RK chain. And then I also mounted the Michelin Power Piers. I had a pretty hard time finding the factory rear size. The front was no problem. There was a 120 70/12s in the front, which is a stock. But the rear supposed to be a 130 70/12, but for some reason I guess Michelin discontinued this tire, and so I was unable. It was sold out everywhere in the 130s. So I was able to find a local set here on my Cycle Gear, and they had the 140 70/12, which is the next size up. I think it's like 10 millimeters wider, a little bit taller than the factory one. So I went ahead and got the 140 70/12 in the rear, and as you can see, there's full clearance of the chain, no rubbing at all, full clearance of the rear tire hugger. So yeah, if you're thinking about upping a size on your Grom to a 140 70/12 of the Michelin Power Piers, highly recommend it. You'll have no problem with clearance. I didn't. And then finally, just a couple of dress-up pieces that I did. I got the Chimera cam cover. The factory one was just kind of flat right here, so this one has a little bit of fins, kind of help with like heat dissipation, stuff like that. And then on the other side, I did the Chimera clutch cover plate, and then the Chimera oil filter cover. But yeah, that's the mods that I've done to my 2022 Honda Grom. Definitely going to be putting a lot of miles on this come riding season. Right now I got about 500 miles, and thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any constructive feedback for me for future videos or have any questions, please leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you in the next one.